The Sanskrit texts of the Hindu and Buddhist tradition talk about incredible flying craft called vimana. They're sort of a cross between a modern stealth fighter and a flying saucer. They describe several different types, including types that can travel from place to place, craft that can travel across the country, craft that can travel from planet to planet.
The ancient Indians were very clear in describing how vimanas were used for the gods to come down from their heavenly abodes to earth. Now, this is not in just one text. It's in all of the ancient Vedic texts. This discussion of flying machines. And it describes the propulsion system, it describes what they were able to do, like go really fast, become invisible. They had powerful weapons. I mean, it reads like Star Wars.
In the Indian text, Mahabharata or in the Ramayana, they are able to kind of take off without having to run. So it's not like our airplanes. There is something that can hover, it can fly. The vimanas are circular in shape, so they're pretty much like a flying saucer.
There are other things that were observed by our ancestors here on Earth. We have descriptions of some of these vehicles being involved in battles. They were able to fly incredibly fast. They had weapons on these machines with which to shoot down other vimanas.
Many of the Sanskrit texts on vimanas speak of using mercury as part of their propulsion. And this would be exactly what NASA is planning to use right now. An ion thruster type spacecraft, which is using solar energy to charge mercury particles that are discharged from the back of the craft, giving it thrust and propelling it into space. So it's really fascinating that engineers at NASA are on the same wavelength as these ancient Vedic texts, which were given to the ancient Hindus by the gods.
When we encounter these incredible craft, we have to be open to the possibility that these are some kind of extraterrestrial craft, or the builders or designers were of extraterrestrial origin.
University of California at Irvine, April 2017. University of Irvine, April 2017. Aerospace engineer Travis Taylor has obtained a model of an aircraft whose design specifications are based solely on information gleaned from ancient Indian texts that are believed to have been set to writing in 500 BC. He is going to subject it to wind tunnel analysis to determine if it is a viable flying machine.
So, explain to me what we've set up here with that wind tunnel.
Okay, so this is our aerospace vehicle model. It's connected to this boom. The armature has a force gauge on it. We're going to have airflow go past it at about 50 miles per hour or so. And then we're going to measure forces against it to determine if it's going to fly or not.
And so what are the signs that you're looking for in order to determine whether this is, in fact, aerodynamically sound?
Right, so we're going to measure the normal force, and the normal force is up or down. If it starts to move up, then that'll be exciting because it's actually going to be rising, and that's how you get flight. You know, when an airplane turns up and starts to move, it's because it's getting lift. The other thing is I don't want to see it going real bad side to side or real bad chatter up and down, because that would mean it's unstable.
All right, well, let's do it. Let's fire her up and see what happens.
Yeah, let's do it. The flow's coming up to speed.
Yeah.
While being subjected to 50-mile-an-hour winds, the craft exhibits a slight lift upwards, yet remains relatively steady.
No side-to-side wobble.
Sensors record the measurement of various forces, as well as torque and pitch to determine just how aerodynamic the body is.
It looks very stable.
Right. So let's look at the results.
So what happened during the test was the normal force, which is where we measure the lift, it was positive between 0.03 and 0.06 pounds of force. That means we were measuring lift. So our vehicle in the wind tunnel experiment was showing positive lift like an aircraft would.
Did you expect these results from a shape that's like that?
Well, the shape looks like a lifting body to me, but you never know until you actually do the experiment. And we have experimental results now that says it is. So that's the exciting part.
And what do you say to anyone who questions the idea that this information has been taken from a text that's at least 1,800 years old?
The only thing you can say is we performed a good scientific experiment, and the results were that the shape made from those texts is a viable aerodynamic structure.
The aircraft model created using details garnered from the ancient Indian text has proven to be flight-worthy. Is it possible that by studying the ancient Indian text, we may be able to recreate advanced technology that existed thousands of years ago in India? An unmanned aerial vehicle hovers across the sky. It travels at supersonic speed, spitting fire, launching deadly missiles programmed to seek and destroy. The effect is devastating. High-tech warfare and its most lethal, but what could be a page stolen from US military black project is actually a description written over 2500 years ago in the sacred Hindu text known as Mahabharata.
When you read the ancient Hindu epics, they talk about horrific weapons, missiles, and atomic weapons, massive laser weapons that are melting and devastating entire cities.
How is it some of the earliest written accounts of warfare describes sophisticated weapons that humans couldn't develop for 1,000 years? For the answer, ancient astronaut theories point to numerous descriptions to deadly weapons found throughout the Mahabharata. Many strikingly similar to those used by military today. One example are destructive weapons wielded by Vishnu,
which are specially equipped to find their targets.
Vishnu has a flying guided missile to the Narayana, and once it is launched, it will destroy everything that is moving. So, according to the description, it is a motion detecting a weapon, which is pretty much like our modern weaponry. There is also a weapon that is heat-seeking.
Heat-seeking is a very effective way of finding something. You would fire a missile from behind one aircraft at an aircraft in front of you, specifically targeted against the hot engine. And then you were able to move off from behind the airplane, and the heat seeker would still be able to find the target.
In addition to guided missiles, the Mahabharata is filled with accounts of other super weapons left by the gods.
In the Mahabharata, 46 different types of weapon are described, and each one has a specific function. So Pasupata is a weapon that actually multiplies into 7 different arrows. So then it hits 7 different targets at the same time. Salva is an anti-god. He can make his vehicle disappear. So we're talking about a flying object that is stealth. He also can put people into sleep. So we're perhaps talking about nerve gas.
They talk about weapons that are so high-tech that could only be from extraterrestrials.